That red light up there shows that it's on, and we are ready to go. Welcome to Conversations with Malik podcast. We would like to thank everybody who listens and watches this show. Please don't forget to follow us at conversationswithmalik.com, and there you will find all our social media links at conwmalik on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube, Conversations with Malik. And this whole show, the purpose of the show is to have people on that like all of us who have overcome obstacles and adversities. We show people that if we can get through it, you can get through it too. We can come out even better. We can come out successful. We like to laugh, joke, have fun on the show, talk about serious stuff, and just be real and be transparent. You know, we're regular people here. But we also got some great superstars. And when I say superstars, I mean people who have just, we all have a story. We all go through stuff. It's not what happens to you. It's how you get through it. And listen, I'm here with a friend of the show who is now an author, international bestseller, Lisa Campbell. What's up, Lisa?
What's up?
How you doing? How you been? That laugh means she knows we're going to get into it today.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to get into it today. And so, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about the book, Saving Lives While Fighting for Mine, right? It's on Amazon. She has a beautiful picture on the back with her face. You know, she's an entrepreneur from the community, from Queens. You know, RCL Enterprises, Rockaway Fish House, legendary, right? And we've talked about entrepreneurial stuff, and we'll talk a little more today about that. And but first, before we get to all of that, I want to talk to you. How are you doing? How you been? It's holiday time. Happy holidays.
You too.
And how you been holding up during this whole COVID thing?
An adjustment. It definitely is a big adjustment. As far as the store is concerned. Everything has changed, as we all know. I mean, it's eye-opening, right, knowing that you just really have to protect yourself and your loved ones and cherish every single moment that you have. This is our new normal.
This is our new normal. A new normal for now.
Right.
Normal.
Right.
Hopefully, it ain't here too long.
Right.
Too much longer. It seems to be some hope in sight.
Right.
But Biden's in office, gonna be in office.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Oh my God.
At least I think thank God for that.
It has to get better.
Yeah, and then we got and Sister Kamala, first African American vice president.
Yes.
So we made some history.
Yes, we did.
And then we got the vaccines coming.
Yeah.
So I know people have mixed opinions on that, but hopefully there's hope on the horizon.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're here to talk about this wonderful book. We're gonna get into the book. I'm gonna push the mic a little closer to you, just so we know we're getting your voice.
Right.
And so. First of all, the fact that it's all sisters coming together was definitely powerful, right, and inspiring. Why a book?
I've always wanted to put out a book. Prior to this project, I was working on my own book, and I was approached by Ayana Mills Gallo, who was the visionary for this book.
Okay.
And she was like, "You got to be a part of it." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." I didn't know what I was going to write or what I was going to talk about, but I knew that I needed to be a part of this book.
Okay. And you knew you needed to be a part of it. Why?
I don't know. I don't know if God placed it in my spirit that it was time to put yourself out there in a different way.
Okay.
And it was more so like having a dream or a vision in your head, but now it's time to really push it forward. And she came in right during that that time, because I was like, I want to get a book done by the end of the summer, by my birthday. My birthday's in August, and that's exactly when it came out, on my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this was in I was praying over it, and I was thinking about this. This was probably in February. Yeah, and she contacted me in March.
And so, you know, I see that the women in this book, from the different stories, are really willing to be vulnerable. What made you think that your story could be like an inspiration to other women? Do you find that this is something that, which you guys were so transparent about in the book, are things that, like, I wouldn't just say plague the African American community, because it's probably, you know, women in general, but let's talk about, you know, do you find that the reason why you guys felt the need to be so transparent in the book is because these are things that other people have been through and just don't want to talk about?
Exactly that. You know, we as people go through so many different things, and we keep it in. And during that time that you're going through, mentally you want somebody to help you, but you don't verbalize it. You just, you know, especially Black women, we're just used to, hey, we gotta get things done. I ain't got time for it. I gotta go on the back burner, and that's the part that keeps you stuck.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So being transparent in this book and telling our truth on how we see it, yes, it will help other women. Yeah. Because, you know, we're all a collective, right? We're all connected in some kind of way. So putting yourself out there and being transparent can help someone else.
Yeah, no doubt. And just basically saying, hey, I went through X, Y, and Z. This is how I faltered in it. I didn't always respond correctly to what went on with me. I had a breaking point. And then I saw that I needed to get help. I got the help. I did the work. I see this about myself, and here's where I am now. You know,
Absolutely.
So you talked about in the book, your parents were entrepreneurs, legendary Rockaway Fish House. Because they had to work a lot of hours, especially on the weekends, they had to drop you off at a friend of the family's to be babysitted, because, you know, they got to close and do the food and all that stuff. But over there, some things transpired with you. Let's talk about that.
So, yeah, like you said, my parents, they really worked hard to give me a life that they didn't have. And I respect them for that. I get my hustle, my grind from them. But during that process, you know, when you're moving around and you're trying to make money and you have a business to run and you have a young child, it's hard. You have to rely on other people to help, family members, friends of the family, people that you trust, that you feel that you can trust, you know. And during that time period, I was raped at 6 years old.
At 6?
At 6, yeah.
How old was the boy?
Like 13.
13. Okay, so that means he was probably sexually active.
12, 13 in there,
yeah. And so at 6. And you described in the book that, you know, you were trying to defend your friend, which was his little brother. He got mad at you for defending him, and this was his way of teaching you a lesson by having sex with you. So, now I can't, you know, we have 6-year-olds in our center. I can't picture any of them like having sex. They're just, their bodies just aren't ready. What was that experience like, and did you really like get the full comprehension of what was happening to you?
When it happened, it was felt like I wasn't, it was a part where it got too extreme, and I felt like I don't know if I was out of my body or kind of shut down, because I was still trying to fight him off of me, you know?
Gotcha.
And at that point, I knew, like, this is, you know, you don't know what sex is 6 years old.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know that someone is, you know, definitely violating me. You know, because their parents say, you don't let nobody touch you here or whatever. Yeah. And it was gut-wrenching, because I was trying to help his little brother. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to protect him. In the midst of me protecting him, I get hurt.
Right.
In ways that you can't even imagine, you know? And
Yeah.
this went on for the whole weekend, because I stayed there the whole weekend.
Oh, so it was like again later on that night and...
The next day, and then the Sunday before I left, it was like, when I opened that door to come out the bathroom, right then and there, my whole life was different. Because there was no more little girl left. You know what I'm saying?
So was there, yeah.
Like everything innocent, everything like childlike left me that day.
Yeah.
There was no more of that, because here I am experiencing something that I can't really comprehend.
Yes.
Or know what's going on, but I knew that my spirit and everything was broken from that point on. It was like done. And the part that really kind of like, I guess, got me, because, you know, he was a big kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, big in size. He was heavier, but he had some mental issues. You know what I'm saying? And the way he would beat his little brother, the way he would just throw him around. And when I went and told his mother about it, you know, she was so disconnected. You know what I'm saying? She got all these other kids, whatever.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything about it. So I felt like this was, I couldn't see him. It's hard to watch when you see someone getting physically harmed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his little brother we're a year apart, but he was way smaller in size, and it wasn't right. You know?
And did you resist the same way when it happened again and again? Was it the same level of resistance, or was it like just like a submission after a while, like, okay, this is what it is?
It was always like a resistance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like I was constantly being broken during that weekend.
Broken more
and more and more.
A little chip.
Right.
I've heard this before.
And it was like,
from women, that it was just like it chips away at you.
Right. And it was like, I cried. And it was just, I can't even describe the hurt and the physical pain that I felt. You know what I'm saying?
And so that went on with him particular from 6 to 9?
It was him. It was others, an adult, because at this point, and this is what people don't understand, you know, they'll say, oh, why didn't you tell somebody? Yeah, it's not that easy. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel afraid. You feel like this is your fault. My parents were working really hard. This is nothing against them. I didn't think that they would put me first to say, okay, to protect me. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have the time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So during that process, I began to change. My spirit began to change.
In what ways?
Like, I remember being 8 years old, thinking I'm pregnant, and I asked my mother. She was like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Ma, when am I pregnant?" And she said, "Girl, you gotta have sex to be pregnant." And she's like, that's way down the line for you. And in my mind, I'm like, you have no idea.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. And, it began to feel like, to answer your question, this is what I was here for. This is what I was here for, people to use me. So as it went on, it became, this is just what it is.
You just accepted it.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that. And do you think that other predators get a sense of, once you become vulnerable like that, they sense and then they hone in on it? So that's why other people started doing it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember this guy who was working in our house, and he was the last one, and it was like, it's like the energy you put out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That brokenness or whatever that is, or that vulnerability that they see, because if you're a predator, you know what to look for.
Right.
You know how far that you can hold a child until they feel like, okay, no, that's enough, or you know these things because this is what you're about, right? So he apparently, of course, he's been doing this before.
Right.
He knew what to play on. Oh no, come, let me hug you. Oh, you're so pretty. Let me sit in my lap and all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
I felt the energy.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Like, when is this ever going to stop?
In total, how many people was it?
5.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's devastating. So now you get older,
Mm-hmm.
and as you get older, what is your idea of sex and a male and a female being together? 'Cause how did that shape your idea of what sex was?
Yeah, for a long time, you know, sex was just an action. It wasn't a connection to it.
Okay.
It was, okay, it didn't have a sense of pleasure. You know, I always felt I was there. If I'm having sex with someone, it's there for their pleasure, not mine.
You're there to please them.
Right, because this is what's been going on since the age of 6. So
Gotcha.
this is where it's supposed to be.
Gotcha.
Until I was in a relationship where that became an issue, and he picked up on it, like, you really into this, or what's going on? And I told him, and that became more of a letting down my guard and getting comfortable with myself and my body.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So life goes on, time goes on, and you were with your mom one day.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ran across the first individual.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that. In the supermarket or something like
He was in the store.
In the store.
At my store. At the store.
Mm-hmm.
And he came. He was there. Came in. Speaking to him. I just blacked out. I hadn't seen him in a while, and so many things had happened in my life prior to that. Because the one thing that, if you don't get help for this early on, it breeds so many other underlying issues.
It webs its way into all your relationships, whether it's relationships with a guy, relationships with your family,
Your relationship with yourself.
Ooh.
And how you view yourself, your self-worth, you know, self-love, self-talk, the lack of things you've missed out on, you begin to attract, you know, for me, I attracted men that, as a teenager, that I was in a physically abusive relationship because I didn't have a high self-esteem or self-worth for who I was, because I didn't feel like I mattered. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to, if you can, to get help early on, because you know it just brings on so many other things. I remember being 6 years old. After that weekend, I prayed to God, please take my life, because I don't want to be here. The pain of holding this in and what happened and visualizing it again was too much for me to handle. And you'll see, like, a lot of women who have gone through this, sometimes they're very sexually active because that's what they know.
Right.
Some turn inward, you know, some become these overachievers in one area because they feel like they have to, be great at something else to cover up this, what has happened to them.
And how did it affect you?
I was definitely an overachiever in the sense of, I want to be perfect. I want to be great at everything that I tried. It really did mess with my self-worth. I still do have insomnia from sleep. I never really sleep well.
Okay.
Being able to have a voice and express myself and know that my voice matters, I'm just now getting to that point in my life.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And that's why it was important for me. I wasn't going into this book thinking even about writing about that.
Gotcha.
But that was the story that needed to be told.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've talked to people who, it actually drove them to the outward financial successes
Mm-hmm.
and the things to mask what was going on.
Absolutely.
But they didn't enjoy it,
right.
because it was like, once you get to something now, it's on to the next thing.
It's
on
never
to the
good
next.
enough.
It's never good enough. So it's like this, it's like this black hole that exists in the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you put there,
Mm-mm.
it doesn't fill
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't fill the void. And that's what voids are.
Right.
Voids are exactly what they say. It's a void.
Right.
And you try to put stuff in the void. It's like a spiritual mentor of mine, Rashid, God bless the dead. I don't want to say God, he made his transition to the ancestors, right? He would say, Malik, stop trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Mm-hmm.
But he would ask me the question, what happens when you try to put a square peg in a round hole?
Right.
The hole gets bigger.
Mm.
Every time you try to fit a square peg in a round hole, the roundness has to grow for the square peg to fit in, it just gets bigger.
Mm.
And so people in general, and I've done it, to mask my inadequacies, my shortcomings, I strove for greater heights so that people can look. But at the end of the day, I know. I gotta sleep with me. I gotta live with me,
right.
or not sleep.
Right.
Or not sleep, right?
Right.
And because when we're not happy, joyous, and free, we're not sleeping well at all. We're not sleeping peacefully.
Right.
And there's a difference between resting well and going to sleep too.
Right.
I found that out.
Right.
So. What means you have a breakdown, and then you start to do the life's work. Talk to me about that process.
Yeah, the breakdown of the breakdown.
Yo, the way you let to that, you took the breath and said, okay, the breakdown of all breaks. So there was other breakdowns. Right.
This was it, man.
It broke down.
It broke down to the concrete, to the pebbles on the ground. This thing broke down, and we as black people, we don't believe in therapy. You grow up in a household, God is your therapy. Pray about it.
Or just getting help in general. Our community don't. Yeah.
We don't believe in that, and I'm glad now we're all getting to a stage of where mental health is very much on the horizons, where people are like taking a step back and looking at themselves and getting the help that they need.
Yeah.
So, see him in the store, and something shifted in me. Cursed him out, left. Something shifted in me that I never felt before. Like internally, mentally, and normally I'm very resilient. So normally I'll shake something off. Day I'm fine. This thing was not going away. I felt off, and it's this mental institution in Long Island called South Oaks. I used to drive by it because it's right by the mall in Massapequa.
Yeah, I heard of South Oaks.
And I drove myself there.
Drove yourself there?
I drove myself there because I told my mother, I said, Mom, I'm not right. Like, something ain't right.
And what was going on?
I felt, I couldn't stop crying.
Okay.
I felt like the anxiety was so extreme. I felt like, mentally I just felt off. Like, I couldn't pull it together. I could not pull it together. And I'm thinking about what happened, and I'm like, it was like a whirlwind of emotions, and I could not control it. I felt out of control. So I told her, and she was like, "You'll be all right, it'll be okay." And it wasn't. And I said, "No, I needs to go somewhere." And I drove myself there, and I explained to them, I was like, "Yo, I'm not right. Something is wrong." And I explained my whole entire story. And he was like, "What you're experiencing is like PTSD from seeing your abuser."
Yes.
And they gave me a number to call this therapist who did DBT therapy, which is more, it's good for people who experience any kind of trauma.
Okay.
Because it works with the behavior that the trauma causes. And I called them the next day, and I did the work.
Nice.
I was in there for 5 years, giving it up, I swear.
Nice.
Because during the process, my father died. And it was like, okay, I need to be here anyway. I'm dealing with that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I just, people think it's, they'll say, "Oh, you soft, or you're not strong enough." It takes so much courage to sit down.
That is strength. To
look at your shit.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
To look at every aspect of your life.
We can curse on this.
Okay.
Podcast. We can.
All right, now let me just make
sure.
Let me just make sure.
We podcasting shit.
Yeah, it takes courage to look at your shit.
Yeah. To
feel the hurt, and to look at the people that played a part in it. Not necessarily like your mom, your father. They didn't do this.
Yeah.
But you look at it like, wait, y'all can't see this,
Mm-hmm.
and to feel those emotions and work through them.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of strength.
Yes.
Because you can easily crack right underneath all of that, because you're being raw and vulnerable with yourself, and it has to come. You have to start with yourself first.
No doubt.
With yourself first.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. So the breakdown was there. I mean, that was the breakdown.
Heavy stuff, and so, you go through that, and look, and therapy is, once you get the tools, then, and I've never been through therapy, but I've had my own spiritual mentorship in my own ways with people that have helped me, and so, I also did my life's work, right? And it's, once you get the tools and you get the people in your life that you need in your life, then it's ongoing.
Right. It never stops.
Like, I'm always learning stuff about myself. Like, I'm going through a period now where, look, man, I made some mistakes. I fucked up in some areas. I did some shit that I shouldn't have been doing. Right? And I'm always transparent on the show. And I got some stuff I'm going to talk about next week in my 7 minutes of wisdom. The 7 minutes of wisdoms with Brother Malik are going to be back. All right? So everybody can stop cursing me out, talking about where you've been and this and that. I'm back. But I don't mind. Look, I don't want people to get too caught up into what they see they think I am.
Oh, please.
Don't build me up for nothing. I appreciate the fact that I inspire you. I appreciate the fact that you look up to me. But I'm a human motherfucking being. I fall short, dog.
That's real.
At my best, I fall short. But I was just interviewing somebody, and I said, give me one word to describe you, and we're going to get into some of those questions, because I got some questions for you, some introspective questions. I said, give me one word to describe you. And if you happen to use this word today, that's fine. And he said resilient. Yeah. And I've been resilient by the grace of God. Mm. But my greatest strength has come through my weakness. Mm. Through me being willing to be vulnerable, being transparent, letting the help me, and not telling the help how to help me. Mm. That's very key. Letting the help me, and not telling the help how to help me. Because if I could tell the help how to help me, I don't need help. Right. I got the answers.
That's true.
And me surrendering, I won. Mm. And giving up, I receive.
That's powerful.
And letting go, I was given. You know, and opening my hands. You know, closed hands, you know, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think I've just been blessed. Like God, there's a saying that God looks out for babies and fools. You know? So I think God was like, man, it's Malik, man, let me just hook his ass up. Let me just look out for him because he gonna throw it all away. And I'm serious. I think that's what happened to me. Because I didn't do anything any different than some of my friends that were brutally murdered in South Jamaica, Queens, growing up. I didn't do anything any different than some of my friends that are just coming home from prison from when we was teens. I didn't do anything any different than some of my friends that's not coming home from prison. We was doing the same stuff. Right. And my mother used to say, Malik, be careful hanging around him because he's a bad influence. Little did my mother know.
You was the bad influence?
I was the They was all following me. so, you know, some of the stuff that they were going away to life for was stuff that I created. It's plans that was created in our room by me. The idea came from me into their minds. And I had post-traumatic stress syndrome from surviving the wars and the conflicts in Jamaica, Queens in the late 80s and early 90s.
It'll do that.
And we're going to get back to you, but I just want to say I didn't feel I had survivor's guilt. And I wondered, why me? And I didn't think that somebody... I didn't think like a cat off the block who did the things I did deserved to have this life I have now.
God seen it different for you. And he knew that. And he had his hand on you the whole time. Whether you were making the plans, creating the plans, he had a different story for you. He knew that you can affect other people in other ways that maybe they couldn't. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
So, did you also suffer from like kind of survivor's guilt a little in the sense of, you know, I've been through all of this stuff. Why am I still here? Do I deserve good things in my life? Like, what was might not have been that, but what was your spiritual experiences that came out of those years in therapy? What was some of like the key aha moments and awakenings for you?
Oh my God. So many. Like I said, that you already know about me, just having the hand that I was dealt with, having parents who financially I never really wanted for anything. They provided,
right.
You know?
Right.
And that used to be a burden to carry because I never knew who was around me for what reason. And I was always, what do they want? When you got family and you got friends with a handout all the time, you begin to get so guarded and defensive of not trusting anyone. You know what I'm saying? And for a long time, just the way I felt about myself with, do people ever get to see me, or they just see the things that I have, or you know what they think that I have, or what they think my life is like. And during that whole process of healing and getting to know myself, because a lot of things I'm like, for example, Taste, my best friend, she threw a birthday party for me not too long ago, maybe like 4 years ago. It was a brunch.
Nice.
Beautiful at her house. She had private chef come.
Nice.
All of my favorite things. Got the good china out. Beautiful. And when I sat down at the table, her and her husband, her son, and I said, "You think this much of me? You think this much of me to do this?" She's never asked me for anything. She loves me for who I am.
Yes. Gotcha.
And through therapy, I learned that I can be loved for just being me, not for what I can give or do for you, do for you. And that made me look at myself different. You know what I'm saying? Experiencing unconditional love that's real, not bought on by anything else. That was, it's like, wow. And that shifts your perspective on what you feel you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So a lot of things start to look different. I realized I don't have to be aggressive to get my point across. We talked about that before, me and you. You know, I'm so angry and so upset that this happened. I kind of felt like, okay, this happened to me. I deserve to have a better life. Why is this still a part of, but I didn't fully do the work at that time.
Right.
And process it,
Right. That's powerful. And, so a few questions. One, if you were on an abandoned island, all by yourself, and this black genie comes out of the bottle,
Oh, wow.
and he comes over, and there's a couple of wishes that he's going to grant you. One, he asks you, and you got to eat the same thing every day for forever. You're never going to be around humanity ever again. You're on this island. That's it. And he comes to say, what's your favorite, what do you want to eat? What's your favorite food? What are you going to tell him?
Favorite food? Mexican food.
No, but what's your dish? You got to pick the dish, because this is what you're going to get every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
God, chicken tacos, I guess.
Chicken tacos.
Every day.
Tacos is my favorite too. Tacos.
Okay.
Yeah, tacos is my favorite. Gotcha. I love tacos. I'm taco man. Beverage.
Alcohol or regular?
Regular, and then we'll do the alcohol.
Water. I'm gonna do the juice of soda.
Water.
Yeah, some
Okay.
alcohol water. Yeah.
Alcohol.
Ooh. Vodka. Yeah.
Vodka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Champagne. I could still keep going on. But
No,
yeah.
no, you
Oh,
get
just
one.
one.
Thing.
Just one.
You get one thing.
Okay. Now I'm gonna do rosé.
Rosé.
Yeah, one thing that'll be fine the whole time.
Gotcha. One album. Give you this album. Got one album to listen to.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Forever and ever. You know what? I'm gonna go with Nas Illmatic. I'll take that.
Nice.
I'll take that.
Okay. Queens, baby.
I'll take that.
If you use one word to describe RCL, what would that one word be?
An institution.
Wow. If you were able to go back in time and speak to Lisa Campbell at, let's say, 13 years old, what would you tell her?
You are loved. You are important. You matter. So I thought.
You're loved, you're important, and you matter. If you could talk to a 22-year-old Lisa. We ain't gonna go too far because we don't want to kill your age now. We're not gonna ask you to talk to the 41-year-old Lisa now.
Yeah, please don't.
but 22-year-old Lisa.
22-year Lisa. Slow down. Slow down.
You think she would listen?
No.
You think she would listen to you, because you're able to, this genie sends you back in time, so she sees herself, and you're talking to her. Do you think she would even listen to herself coming back in time?
22. But I would tell her anyway, slow down. You do not know it all. Don't try to figure this thing out. Love yourself. You don't have to be angry all the time. You don't have to be aggressive all the time. Take your time. You're going to get there.
Yeah, I don't think the 22-year-old Malik would listen to Malik. I think I would probably curse him out and blame him for
she definitely
everything and tell him to go back to it.
Yeah, she definitely be like, what you talking about?
You the reason why, I'll probably blame him.
Yeah.
Give me, so 2 more things, and then it's done. We're doing good too, 42 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it at 45. If you had if God came and said, I'm just letting you know today's your last day.
Wow.
And you only get one sentence to leave to humanity, what would that one sentence be? To all of the black women out there, all the young girl that's 6 that's going through it today, that's happening for the first time. To the sister who went through it, who's going to go through it 5 times, just like you, from during those ages. What would that one? You get one sentence. What would it be?
Oh, you so deep. Wow. Wow. That one sentence, so much. But the thing that sticks out to me is to use your voice. Tell someone, use your voice. Don't be afraid. Because who knows if I would have spoke about where I would be, would my life be different? Would I have experienced all of those things? Don't be afraid to use your voice. Yeah.
Nice. Last and final question. In one word to describe Lisa Campbell.
It is definitely resilient. Because no matter what you throw at me, I'm still going to get up. I'm going to brush it off. I'm going to do the work and I'm going to keep going. I'm built that way.
That's it. If you mess with her, mess with me. Queens, baby. And we're not having it. You know what I'm saying? Saving lives while fighting for minds. Stories to empower women to win.
Yes.
Lisa Campbell.
Yes.
Please check out the book. And tell everybody in the audience how they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram with coaching with Lisa Campbell. You can check out my website, coachingwithlisacampbell.com. Yeah, you can find the book on Amazon, and if you go to my Instagram page, the link is in the bio. You can buy it from there. But yeah, it's a good book. It helps.
Great book.
Yeah, to inspire women in all different areas, not just sexual trauma, but divorce. You know, there's so many different stories in this book. So
great book, and
thank you.
Well, another great episode of Conversations with Malik. Please remember to follow us, like us, subscribe, share this message. All we're trying to do is share positivity out there. And I'll end the interview in the normal fashion. Remember, Brother Malik loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.